Hey, good morning, everybody. So today I just want to go over lesson 8 and 9, where we talked about Gettysburg and the Gettysburg Address. Then I want to preview your homework, which is the quiz, multiple choice, over lesson 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then I want to show you a timeline that I made to hopefully help you keep some of the many actions and events that we talked about to keep those in order. So anyway, um, for lesson 8, the road to Gettysburg, big thing here that we focused on was that while the Southern command around Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania was very steady under Robert E. Lee, with the North, it was kind of a mess. They had McDowell, they had Meade, they had, of course, McClellan a couple times, they had Hooker, they had Burnside. So as the North is going through these different leaders of the Army of the Potomac, they are suffering while the South has a lot more success. Feeling that success and hopefully trying to put a quick end to the war, Robert E. Lee decided to invade the North with the Battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania. But ultimately, he is defeated. And then not only did that loss happen on July 3rd, 1863, for the North, for the South, sorry, but the very next day at Vicksburg, the South lost control of the Mississippi River. So that was a big couple days for how as far as a turning point of the war. We talked. I mentioned Robert E. Lee and Grant. That Robert E. Lee had a different sort of upbringing. He was raised by his mom mostly. He was sort of destined to fill the role that he did, whereas Grant sort of like kicked around and tried a bunch of different jobs. And one of the questions from the reading, I saw a couple of people for number one put Robert E. Lee. That is not the correct answer. The correct answer is Stonewall Jackson. Robert E. Lee did not die during the Civil War. He died actually in 1870, 5 years after the war's end. So number one was Stonewall Jackson, who died He was accidentally shot by actually one of his own men. Question number two, which side won the Battle of Gettysburg? Of course, that would be the Union. And then number three, finish the analogy. Grant is to the Union as Lee, or Robert E. Lee, is to the Confederacy. Jumping over to the Gettysburg Address, parts there. What are two things Lincoln is trying to accomplish? Well, with the first and second paragraph, what he's trying to accomplish is especially the second paragraph, he is there to dedicate the soldier cemetery where the battlefield was. All right, so that's like the very vanilla. That's what he's there to do. But the last paragraph is he's essentially trying to convince people that this struggle, that this war is still worth it. When he talks about a new birth of freedom and that the dead shall not have died in vain, he's encouraging um, he's encouraging the country to make good on the promises of the Declaration of Independence by not just having an independent country, but now actually making it so people within the country have liberty. And of course, he's talking about ending slavery there. So the original goal is to just dedicate the cemetery, but the second part, and the one that we sort of long remember, is the idea that he's trying to keep up the war effort in 1863 and keep the Union fighting for victory. All right. The other thing that I wanted to offer to you is the webcam is not working right now. Oh, that's okay. The other thing I wanted to offer to you is this little timeline that I put together, just trying to keep some of the actions organized. One of the learning indicators for the test is going to be about chronological order, and that ties in with cause and effect as well. So the first slide gives you the causes that I went over in lesson one, and just puts those in order, and you can see that some of the things are right next to each other, and some of the things are there's a 20-year gap there. And then I went by year. So 1860 to the left, 1861 to the right, and I just sort of went in order. Just about every single one of these things we've talked about, Battle of Bull Run, the Anaconda Plan, things like that. One thing that I did not talk about was the first thing listed under 1862 in February. One of Abraham Lincoln's sons, I believe he was either 11 or 12 years old, William Wallace Lincoln, actually died of typhoid fever while living in the White House while his dad was president and during the Civil War. Incredibly sad by all accounts. He was a very thoughtful, fun little boy. He would um, he sort of made the White House's. He would have these little battalions of he and his friends would go marching around the White House and interrupt meetings and stuff like that. And so that was obviously President Lincoln in the midst of this terrible crisis that he's having to be president through. He's dealing with that, and then his wife did not handle it well. Mary Lincoln had many bouts of well, I mean, it's hard. I don't want to be like a psychologist or psychiatrist here, but she definitely battled with some depression and of course with her son dying and then her husband dying, she spent a number of years of her life not being able to really care for herself because of the mental turmoil and emotional turmoil that she had to go through. But anyway, continuing on, we talked about the Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, the death of Stonewall Jackson, Vicksburg, Gettysburg Address, 1864. Most of these things that we've talked about, 1864 is sort of where we get into what we'll have to talk about next week. So we mentioned the Fort Pillow Massacre, but then when we get to a guy named General Sherman and Lincoln winning re-election and stuff, and of course the end of the war and then his assassination, that gets into 1865. So that'll be stuff that we talk about on Monday. Quick note about General Sherman under September 1864. If you were curious as to that little Valentine heart magnet that was always in my room, that's actually General Sherman's picture. So anyway, now you know. All right, the final thing is the formative quiz here. Let's see, how many questions did I put? So there are 10 questions. All of them are multiple choice, and that is due tomorrow, Friday. I may have said earlier on Monday, but we'll make that tomorrow. That way I have a chance to grade them, and I can tailor my lesson Monday based upon how you do on this quiz that'll be due tomorrow. All right, that's enough out of me. I hope you guys have a good day. Stay cool. It was a little bit warm yesterday, but we spend 6 months out of the year complaining it's too cold, and then we spend another 6 months complaining it's too hot. So that's just the way it is in New England. All right, take care, guys.